Okay, in this lesson I've powered up my Windows 10 machine. So I've got my Windows Server machine powered off at the moment, and I've got my Windows 10 machine up and running. So what I need to do is I'm going to add this machine to my domain, and then hopefully we can test the users and stuff that we've logged on and we've made. So once I've got my Windows 10 machine powered up, I go to this icon here, No Internet, and I click Network and Internet Settings. And I click Ethernet, and I change adapter options, and double click Ethernet, same as I did for the server really, properties, and TCP version 4. I'll give it an IP address. This machine I'm going to do 192.168.1.2. If you remember the my mistake. If you remember, the server was 1. So 192.168.1.2. So our server is going to be number 2. The server was 1, 192.168.1. The gateway will be, we don't have a gateway really, but will be 192.168.1.254. And the DNS will be the DNS of our server that we're connecting to, 192.168.1.1. So the machine, this is the unique IP address for this machine. This is the range that they're in, 192.168.1, and the unique number for it is 2, and the DNS is our server that we made last lesson or a few lessons ago. So that's 1.1. So I click OK, and that's my IP address settings put in. There are other ways to get to it. I think we can just type in Ethernet in the search settings, and it'll bring it up that way. Change adapter options. You might even be able to type in so we can just do Ethernet settings there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in this PC. Or I could have brought it up from this bar here, and right click this PC, go to properties, and this is called Win 10 client. I can change it to our PC. That'll do. And I'll click OK. It's part of a work group at the moment. I'll click OK. So you might have a long numerical value there, or win and a load of numbers. So I'll restart it. Once I've restarted my machine, I've given it a name, and I've given it a local user password. I can probably start my server up. So while that starts up, this will slow things down. I can click here, and I'll power on my server as well. You will occasionally get it, but for some reason it goes into the BIOS. Boot normally. Okay, it's going to boot up. Control Alt to release the cursor. So if you want to get out, Control Alt. My Windows 10 machine is booted up. You'll notice it hasn't got Nest or anything in front of it at the moment. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to wait for my server to boot up as well. That shouldn't take too long. You do need the server up to connect it to the domain. Otherwise there'll be nothing there to respond to it. Something that we can do first of all to check a few things though is we can see if we can ping each other. So if I open the command prompt on the Windows 10 machine, the server's going to take a bit of time to boot because I got two machines running, using up all the RAM. Okay, my machine's booted up. So I'm going to log in as, and I'll try pinging both machines each way. So my Windows 10, I can do ping 192.168.1.1, and I can get a reply. 1.1 is the server. Now I may not get a reply from the server to the PC because the firewall will be blocking it. So it's finally let me run the command prompt, or is in the stages of letting me get there. So the machine was 192.168.1.2. It's all a bit laggy because I'm running two machines. Probably could have reduced the RAM. It's got a bit of a delay. And it'll probably time it out because the Windows firewall, which is something we'll come to later, is rejecting it. But we can try to add the server in now. So to do that, I just need to go to Explorer on my Windows 10 machine. So I've clicked my Windows 10 machine, this PC, and properties. So I'll just start that bit again. So on my Windows, from my server to my Windows 10 machine, Explorer, right click this PC, properties, and I'll click change settings here because we've got work group, and I'll go change. This time I'm going to put domain in, and I'm going to type in nest.local, which was the name of the server. So if I click OK, it should now try to contact the server and ask if for the administrator username and password. So it's come up. So type in administrator, and I type in the password that I've used. I should hopefully, yeah, welcome to the nest.local domain. So click OK, and it'll want to restart. So the computer will restart. I'll pause while it restarts and come back to you once it's up and running. Okay, the machine's rebooted, and it's got admin, same as before, but now if I click other user, I can sign into Nest. So I type in nest / I think I created a user called Joe. I can check that by going to Tools, Active Directory Users and Computers. And in IT Students, Joe, and he's got a profile, yeah, so he logs on as Joe. There it is there, user login name Joe. So I'll go back to my Windows 10 machine and I type in I type in nest, no, other user, sorry, nest / Joe and the password, and it's found Joe Blogs, it's logging him in, and it goes through the usual stuff of setting up a new profile like a first user. So again, I'll pause that whilst it takes several minutes to get up and running, and I'll come back to you when it's finished. Okay, it didn't take that long. If I go to Explorer now and I go to this PC, you'll see that I've got a Owls IT Z drive, and just to prove things I'll go to Server 2019, and what I'll do is I'll copy this login script. So I'll right click and copy, and I'll copy it into the IT Students Home Joe's Z drive. And again, we might have to troubleshoot this, but we'll go to Windows 10, and if I go to Joe now, you'll see that the map drive is there. Double click it. It says it completed successfully. And if I go to this PC now, you see that I've got a Z drive and a P drive, and I can access the P drive. So we've successfully logged on to the domain, to the server. We've got a public folder and we've got a Z drive folder. So perhaps a little bit messy at times, but that's the lesson on how you add a Windows 10 machine to the domain. You basically go to network settings, you go to adapter settings, put it in the IP address. I missed it that time. Ethernet, adapter options, go into it, properties, and I can't get in now because I'm not an administrator. So if I type in it lets me in because I've logged in as the domain administrator, and there's the IP numbers. So once you put the correct IP numbers in, all you have to do is then rename, is go to the machine. So right click this PC, properties, change settings. Again, I'm logged in as Joe, so this won't work because I know the administrator password. I can log in and it'll allow me to do it. So I'm overriding Joe's permissions with mine. So click change, and that's where you put the domain in. So all you need to do is give it an IP number, put it into a domain, and provide the domain username password, and we're up and running. So one last thing we probably could do to check is if I copy this again and go to the C drive and go to I'll make a new folder and I'll call it finance staff, and right click, properties, sharing, advanced sharing. I'll do it really quickly. Finance group to it, and click apply and OK. Okay, and now I'll go into Server Manager and I'll go to Tools, Users and Computers, and I'll go to the Finance Staff group. I'll go to Leah, Connect, and it'll be //owl1 / and I can't remember what it was called, Finance Staff. And hopefully that worked. Yeah. So if I go to the Finance Staff, there's Leah's folder. I'll copy the map there. Now I'll go back to Windows 10 machine, Control Alt Insert, sign out. And this time, if I can remember it, another user, nest /Leah, and I'll tap log in. And again, we have to go through with this, getting things ready for you. So I'll pause. Okay, so it's logged me in. So usual tests. Have I got? So I've got a Z drive. If I go to the Z drive and I map, and it says you don't have permission to access it. So that's because I can't access it. I could run the script, but I can see a P drive, but I can't access it. And the reason I can't access it is because in Active Directory, in Properties, member of, they're not a member of it. So if I was to go to type in here ITStew now, there's a bit of a delay there, IT Students Group, and I apply it. I think all things being equal, I close. Okay, it will take a bit of time. Let's have a look. GP update. This may or may not work, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But the next time you log on and off, they'll be able to have access to that drive. So that's setting up groups, that's setting up permissions, that's setting up policies, and as long as we have that user as a member of IT Student Group, on a reboot, they'll be able to see all the drives. So that's basically adding a computer to a domain and testing our users. The next lesson we'll look at group policy and securing our server a little bit further. Okay, and for those doubters amongst you, I restarted the PC and you can see I got Leah, and when I double click it, I can now get into it. So just because I've added Leah to that group, she can now get in. So that's how easy it is to add someone to a group and take them out of a group with permissions. So that's how it works in. Thanks and goodbye.